From the shoreline, it was hard to see the island, if any of it at all. We started walking out across the causeway and it gradually started emerging in front of us. It's quite surprising at how derelict it was and the state of disrepair that it was in.
So the site is in a state of decay, and it was very atmospheric when we visited. The low-lying mist, and all of it gives a sort of sense of uneasiness and feeling of oppression.
The memories of the pier for the majority of people are the pier's original Victorian rides. These were especially big, large. The place was compared to Coney Island at one time. The rides themselves were fairly fantastic, including Switchback Railway, a Hurry Scurry, which was a straight line helter-skelter, an ordinary helter-skelter, a water splash and a chairplane machine.
The complexity of this site goes beyond its geographical form and extends to two large-scale piers, one which goes out to sea and then one which bridges to the mainland, and also the Grade 2 listed buildings on the site and the large 1970s concrete structure.
It's evident from our site visits that Birnbeck Pier is a very important landmark for the people of Weston. And quite often we've been struggling with the idea as to whether or not our project is about an island or whether or not it's about the pier itself.
It seems that it's living within people's memory, so there's quite a nostalgic feel around the island, that people want it to be rebuilt as it once was.
The primary aim of this project has been for students to design a contemporary take on an international film school on Birnbeck Island. They have been asked specifically to consider the social, physical and historic context within the wider society of Birnbeck and Weston-super-Mare.
I'm proposing a building that will bring back the energy. It used to be a Victorian theme park, a place of constant movement. So I'm proposing a building that would accommodate a theme park where people can go and enjoy themselves as they used to do in the past. My project accommodates education spaces, public spaces on the ground floor and more private spaces on the first floor. The outdoor cinema works at low tide, so again the building, the atmosphere in the building changes during the whole day according to the level changes of the water.
Tom's project is for a stop frame animation institute on the island with a secondary programme of a swimming pool. Within his film you see a panning of a circular belt which runs around the building, and you see inside the archive spaces and the films that are on constant loop.
So my initial understanding of the brief was to use the Film Institute as a specific location for a certain type of film, and my further research of it acknowledged that traditional filmic techniques were declining, and that was something I wanted to link back to the theory of the site and the issue of nostalgia around the site and the idea of memory.
William's project sees the pier left to decay and a series of buildings built on the headland and on the island. A film projects out over the pier and visitors visit the island via a boat.
My project is a response to historic narratives that have happened on site. So I've been very interested in taking the opinion of the pier and the island and capturing some of the memories into the project's timeline. Particularly I was interested in the flow of the captain's boats as they moved in and out of the piers, and also the story of a romantic couple who met on the pier originally and fell in love and got married.
Looking at the brief, I knew eventually it was going to be a film institute, and I wanted to use these ideas and theories that I sort of like read and developed, like the idea of wayfinding and looking at like certain people like Sergei Eisenstein's work about montage and architecture, and try to incorporate that into my design concepts.
During the project, we utilised the help of a drone in order to 3D map the island. And as an exercise, it was really important because something like Birnbeck Island can't really be drawn in a diagram simply. All the topography needs to be captured in a more realistic fashion. And I feel that the drone mapping is a real future tool of the surveying industry, so it's quite good that we could use that.
So the drone footage was beneficial to get a good overview of the site really quickly. Obviously, when we went to the site, it was quite hard to access. It was only accessible by foot at certain parts of the day. So the drone allowed us to view the site really quickly and view it in quite a level of detail.
The collaboration with the students at University of West of England has been a very successful project for us. We need to develop a feasibility study to ensure the island can be run successfully into the future. We need new thoughts and new ideas and new concepts to be able to develop this study. Attending the review process was an interesting experience for myself. I've never experienced the workings of a college such as this, and it's eye-opening to in fact find out the way that concepts are developed and created and brought to fruition.